My fears include the fear of speaking in public. I feel as if this fear is very common in teenagers. So much of your schoolwork is based on public speaking. Teachers are constantly giving projects to students where they have to give presentations. For most kids, this is terrifying, standing in front of all their peers and talking about something that most times really isn't that interesting to them. Just at the thought of all those eyes staring back at you is enough to make a kid want to pass out or run out of the room screaming. A good example of this is in the movie Princess Diaries, and also proves that a lot of kids feel this way about giving speeches in front of the class. This fear is one that is not easily conquered. It's not one of those that once you do it, you gain more confidence and you can grow from the experience. Most of the time, even if the speech goes wonderful and there are no major mistakes, I will still feel horrible afterwards and never want to do it again. In a way, this fear can be explained by Damasio. The act of getting in front of a group of people and speaking has a negative emotion on me. This action with the emotion has an involuntary response to tense up and get nervous. The unknown is a common fear. Many people fear not knowing what is coming next or not knowing how they are going to handle something. The act of questioning yourself and your future is also in this fear. I find myself always wondering, what am I going to do next? I worry a lot about how I'm going to do things or get things done. An example of this is what I am currently going through. Being undecided about my major in college is very stressful, and it is scary sometimes, not knowing what I'm going to do with my life. I worry about the different paths I could take and how I'm going to successfully get there. When thinking about this fear of the unknown, I realized that Spinoza was right. Spinoza said that there is no fear without hope, which is very true in my case. I have no clue where I'm going in my life, and yes, the unknown does scare me. But I have hope that I will find my way and I can make it through. My fear of not knowing is just overpowering that hope at the moment. Without this hope, I would no longer be afraid of the unknown, but instead, I would have given up completely. My final fear I chose to look into is the fear of loneliness. It's not unusual for someone to not like that feeling in the pit of your stomach when you know that you're all alone. Most people don't want to go their whole lives just to end up not having someone. I personally hate this feeling this way. Everyone wants to have that someone in their lives and not feel lonely. A great reference to this fear is in Nickelback's song Gotta Be Somebody. He talks about the fear of not having someone in your life and how everyone wants to have that person. You just have to find them. This fear does not affect my everyday living. I don't go around thinking about how sad it would be to be lonely. But when I do think about it, it really scares me. You want to find that one person that you can spend your entire life with. Fear is to many people many different things. Philosophers are trying to figure out exactly how to define fear and all its aspects. Earlier, I mentioned Spinoza and how he believed that there is no fear without hope. I think that hope is a big part of fear and agree with Spinoza and his idea of the balancing act. Hope and fear are on a scale, and when one goes up, the other must go down. One will always overcome the other, and that will determine if you can get over the fear with enough hope, or if you are lacking hope, then the fear will stop you. One of the most important and interesting things I learned about fear is the difference between fear talk and fear talking. Wittgenstein had the idea that words are tools and always mean something or are used to get us something. He also believed that when we are actually afraid, we don't say, "I'm afraid." We scream or have a reaction like that. However, when we talk about fear and what we are afraid of, that is when we actually use words like, "I'm afraid." Sing to Jesus. Kierkegaard said that the only cure for fear is faith. I completely agree with this statement. I have been a Christian my entire life. I was born in the church and raised with the church, so to me, that religion stands out as the only one that makes sense. But I don't only believe this because I was raised that way. Looking at all the other religions we studied, none of the others really stood out to me, and that may be because I am biased, but I have my religion that I believe in, and I am sticking to it. Christianity always says, "Be not afraid." Believing that we have nothing to be afraid of and that God will take care of you is a hard thing to wrap your head around. How is it possible to just let go of everything that you worry about and believe that you will be fine? As I said before, one of my fears is the unknown. I struggle with this a lot, but I understand that through this faith, I shouldn't be worried. Like Kierkegaard said, take a leap of faith. And remember, it's going to be all right.
Then cry to Jesus. Cry to Jesus.
The religion that I really found myself not connecting to was Islam. Their idea of facing your fears is to only fear Allah. To me, that makes no sense. You shouldn't fear your God. You should know that He loves you and will do anything for you. Throughout this class, I found it interesting to look at my fears and see how much I can conquer them if I just try.
When you can't contain your joy inside, then dance for Jesus. Dance for Jesus. Dance for Jesus.